Hello, I'm Dave for Omni Cubed Pro Overview. Today I'm going to be demoing how to use the 90-degree stealth seamer on a mitered waterfall. Now, I'm presuming that you already know how to set seams and even waterfalls, so I'll just be covering the techniques that you would use with the 90s to easily set outside drop edge seams. In a previous Pro Overview, we have explained the features and general functions of the 90-degree stealths, so I'm not going to be repeating all that, but go ahead and check out that video if you haven't seen it already. I am going to take time to explain all the steps, but this process is actually really fast and would normally only take a couple minutes. Now, if you look at these, I know they look rather complicated, but please don't be intimidated. They're really quite simple. However, one common misunderstanding that I do run into is that people tend to think of these like they're normal seam pullers, but they're not, and they don't function like typical seam setters. So please, don't just hand these off to your crew without setting them up for success by way of some basic explanation. For example, these will align and close your joint and hold it tight with the glue kicks, but they won't apply a substantial pinch force on the joint. You still need to use tape for that, just like you would with any miter. And I'll show you what I mean with that in a minute. So I want you to think of these as kind of a sophisticated jig that's going to hold everything in the right spot while the adhesive cures. These are going to eliminate the need for a helper and for a billion clamps and shims. I mean, I don't know how you typically do it, but normally you're having to put clamps on just as anchor points to put more clamps on, and the whole joint is getting all bound up under that, and you can't easily adjust anything or work the seam. These are going to give you the freedom as one person to dry fit the seam, work the joint, and get it done easily and efficiently. All right, let's go ahead and take these all off, and we'll start back at the beginning. All right, now obviously this is just a demo piece, but normally you'd get some shims and adhesive in under here because you need the top piece to be level and in position before you try to attach any kind of an edge piece. And we're going to use both 90-degree stealth seamers as it takes two to set a seam. They come right out of the box just like this, fully assembled, so your crew won't have to waste any time putting anything together. As you take them out, it's good to do a quick visual inspection to make sure that you have everything that you're going to need. What I'm looking for is that I have both of the 90s, both of the extension hooks, and both of the anchor cup attachments. In this case, it looks like everything's here, everything's connected, and we're good to go. There's also a pump and a Y adapter. We're gonna get these plugged in here in just a second. I'm up there for the moment. It also comes with a battery adapter and a power cord for the wall. Now the battery adapter is for if you don't have any power on site, you can run this on 8 AA's for about an hour or so. We don't need that in this case because I want to plug it in. All right, let's go ahead and get this pump set up. I'm going to use the Y adapter and get that snapped in for our vacuum lines. And then I've got my wall adapter. Get that plugged in. Now there's also a rechargeable power pack. This is sold separately, and what's nice about it is it can power the whole system for up to 5 hours on a single charge. You don't need to worry about bringing extension cords or extra AA's. It's totally portable, and you can see right on the screen how much juice has got left. Okay. Now, before I was to try to set a seam, it would be important to do a quick reset of all the adjustments back to their defaults. So let's work our way down from the top. First, we'll get these vacuum lines plugged in. And our wall power is already connected. Now look at these top adjustment knobs, right? This little one in the back and the big one in the front, they both do the same thing. And I want to set it so that it's in line with the middle adjustment indicator ring. There are 3 adjustment indicator rings here that show me how much forward and back movement I have, and this knob controls that forward and back movement. So I want to be at about the middle line on both of these. I want these adjustment leveling feet to be up. Okay, and these valves both need to be closed, and you'll know that they're closed when the handle is across from the vacuum line. These leveling feet need to be up, and I'm not going to actually use these while setting a waterfall, but I do want them to be back out of my way. These are the vertical adjustment knobs that control the slab going up and down, and I want them to be in about the middle. However, since this is a waterfall, I know I'm not going to go any lower than the floor, so if it was at the middle ring or the lower ring, both of those would be fine. Moving down, I want to check that the S-hooks are connected to my anchor cup attachments securely on both sides, that this leveling foot here is up, right, and that my vacuum lines are connected on both sides. So these look good. All right, so if you're seaming an edge that's over 100 pounds, and this piece is 3 cm, so it's probably about 100 pounds, then you're going to need the extension hooks and anchor cup attachments. Each cup has a shear vertical lifting capacity of 50 pounds. So with this set of 6 cups, I can actually do a 300-pound piece. If you're doing something heavier, you can actually add more 90-degree stealths to up your weight limit. And if you're doing something lightweight, then technically you don't need these anchor cups, but to keep it simple, I would recommend just leaving them on all the time. And remember, with the 90s, you can do any size apron, 10 inches or longer. All right, I also like to have all my supplies staged, and I know I'm going to need some tape for this miter joint, and I'm also going to need a square. Now, since this is just a demo, I'm not going to be using any epoxy, but obviously we're going to have all those items here too. By the way, I like to use a combination square, but any size tri-square or even a machinist square would work. Personally, I don't like using carpenter squares or roofing squares because they typically have this little notch right here, and this is going to make it a little bit harder to align our stone. And I'll show you what I mean later, but really whatever square you have will work just fine. Now, this visual check and reset took a long time to talk through and explain, but this would normally only take a few seconds to do on site as you pull things out of the case. All right, now my demo piece looks pretty well cut, but no matter how well your pieces are cut, you're still going to have to make some adjustments to set the joint. And remember, if you typically scribe and cut the final length on site, you need to have that done before you started any of this. Now, we are ready to start. But before we turn these on, you actually want the 90s set on a little crooked like I have them here so that they don't suck down before you want them to. Okay, we're going to turn the pump on. Now, you can put these on kind of wherever you want, but I like them out on the sides so that I can more easily work the joint in the middle. You want to push these down and back all at once, kind of like on a 45-degree angle. You'll hear the pitch of the pump change, and that lets you know that they've sucked down. And see, these are both on. Now I'll line up this bottom cup. I'm going to push in on the anchor cup attachments, and I'll push in here and pull the stone out towards this cup. Then I'll go ahead and open up this valve. That's it, this side is on. Now, we'll go ahead and do that over here. Line this up, push it in with your knee, pull the stone out, push it in, and open this valve. What I'm trying to do here is press all the cups firmly into the stone before you open the valve so that you don't lose any suction. If you do lose suction, just reset and try again. It's not the end of the world, right? If it's still not sucking down, you might be right on top of a little crack or microfissure that you couldn't see. I mean, it is a natural material after all, so you might need to move these over a little and try again. In this case, we're good to go. Now, if I were to add the material weight of the stone right now to the 90s, they'd start to get pulled down by the weight of the stone. So we need to lock the 90s into place so that they'll stay level and true as we set the seam. To do that, I'm going to drop these leveling feet. Now you want to do it equally, and I'm just going to bring them both down until they just touch the stone. Now to lock this into the position, we're going to turn them just another half turn. And this will lock these in parallel to the top. Again, not too much, just make it touch and then another half turn, that's all it takes. And if you've done it right, these rollers should move smoothly and not feel bound up. These are good. Now, before getting out an adhesive, let's dry fit this seam. We'll turn these together to raise the stone up off the floor. And actually, I have some tape on here because I was working alone, kind of as a safety to help me hold this in place. But I don't need this on here anymore because now the 90s are holding a stone. Now you can see in my case here, I'm actually coming up under the lip of the stone a little bit, so I'm going to need to bring the stone out in order to raise it up any higher. So we'll use these knobs here. Now I've got room to bring this up higher. When you bring it out, you want to do it evenly and with enough clearance that you can easily see the joint. Now we can raise this up and take the weight of the stone off the floor. Okay, now the 90s are holding the full weight of the material, and when that happens, the slab will actually rock out a little. Did you see that when it happened? It's kind of like a pendulum that's out of balance. So let's use the 90s to bring this back into position, and we'll use the square to check it. And you can see right now, I'm totally off, right? So we'll use this adjustment knob down here. Again, we're going to bring these in so that they just touch, like we did at the top. And after they both touch, then equally and evenly together, we'll bring this right back into 90. And I can even check both sides independently. Perfect. That is perfect. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up until I'm just shy of the combination square. And this is actually why I like to use a combination square, because it has this flat bottom and I can see how close I am to being in the right spot. So when I'm just shy, then I can go ahead and just roll this slab right in. All right, now you can see I'm a little proud over here. The weight of the stone is going to suck this back when I drop this roller. So I'm going to just drop this a little, and it'll suck right back in. Okay, now if you've brought this up and you're a little off kind of laterally, then we want to make this perfect, right? But I don't want to do that adjustment while the joint is closed because I don't want the stone to grind and chip the seam. So we're going to loosen this back up a little. And now I can move this laterally left to right and get that perfectly smooth. And then I can close this back up. That's it. Easy. Anyone on your crew can learn to do this. Now, like anything, you're going to benefit from a little practice. But this process really only takes a couple of minutes from beginning to end. And remember, right now, there's no adhesive in this. So you can adjust this as much as you need to. But when you like it, you're just going to roll it out, put in your adhesive, and roll it right back in. And everything should be exactly in the same spot just as it was. Now, this is a miter joint. So just like any miter joint, you're going to want to use tape for a little extra pinch force right where you need it. Maybe there's a little bit of bow or crown in your stone, and tape is going to do that. It's going to pull it together and hold it tight while the adhesive kicks. I like to use stucco tape. It's relatively cheap, it's stretchy, it's strong, it's readily available, and it typically doesn't leave any residue. But obviously you're going to want to test it first on your material. Also, your local suppliers will likely have some specialty tapes specifically for use on stone. Now, look at this joint. I still have plenty of room to come in and work this. I can see exactly what I've got. I can do whatever I need to do before the adhesive sets, and I can be sure that this is picture perfect. Once it's cured, I'm just going to pop these off, disconnect the vacuum lines, and just drop it right back in the case. Just like this. That's it. Complicated miters made easy. For more information, check out the 90-degree Stealth Steamer page at omnicubed.com. Please give us a like and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you'll receive our future pro reviews. Till next time, be safe. It looks like it's all here and connected, so we're good to go. There's also a pump and Y adapter. We'll get those plugged in a second if I actually had them in the box.